that is a fully digital TCG that's similar to Magic. Has a lot of really good innovations in it. Hex also has a fantastic standard format right now. It really has there's a lot of good card selection in it and card advantage. So like this is a great example of both digital card design as well as awesome card advantage. This is a 3-cost basic action. Basically think of it as a 3-cost sorcery, and it lets us draw 3 cards over the next 3 turns. So it adds the line of text to the next action, resource, and troop in our deck. When you play this, draw a card. So it's kind of a delayed draw 3 for 3 resources. One of the other interesting things about Hex is that you'll see here we each have a different portrait on the side, my opponent and I. And we have different starting life totals. So the portraits are not just cosmetic. Your champion kind of determines your starting life total. And the nice thing about the champion selection is that it kind of lets you make informed mulliganing decisions before you even start the match. So like my opponent is playing Bishop Elijah, which generally means they're playing kind of a small creature deck. This, for 4 charges, puts a 2-cost or less troop from their crypt back into their hand. And then on my side, mine for 7 charges creates an Oracle Song that draws me a couple of cards. Yeah, like Lanupaw Sight's just like a playable card. Also, you have to understand like the power level of things in Hex is a little bit lower than like Modern, and Legacy, and that's by design, and it's also by the nature of Hex's constructed formats just being a little bit smaller right now. Hex has 6 constructed sets right now, with their 7th constructed set releasing later this month or possibly next month. We'll go ahead and play Lanupaw Sight out here. So Dingle, I kind of wanted to hold up. This transforms a troop while it's on the chain into a Dingler. So unlike a lot of the TCGs and CCGs that exist, Hex has a lot of interactivity. You can respond to things that your opponent's doing on their turn if you have a card that is quick. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn here. My opponent slipped this Hero of Legend through while we had the Dingler down. Well, we didn't have the Dingle up because we played this. This is a 3/4 that says whenever one of their Ardent troops, which is a faction here, hits me, it creates a Valor card, which is a power-up for them. Dawn Mesa Duo. I'm going to go ahead and Dingle this. So instead of them getting a 3/3, this is going to come into play as a very ugly 0/1 Dingler. I'm going to go ahead and cycle this Wakuna Coin here. So this is a resource that I can discard to gain 2 life and draw a card. I think I'm going to go ahead and play this Arcane Focus to start here. And you can see this one is Prophesy. So normally this card is just 1 cost. Look at the top 2 cards of our deck, put one in our hand and the other one back into our deck. But this one, when we play it, we draw an additional card because of the Lanupaw Sight we played earlier. All right, getting a little flooded here. I think I'm just going to play this other Lanupaw Sight out here. Let's get some more card velocity in the bank. So Hex's Eternal format isn't that much different than Standard right now. There's only 2 extra sets in it. So a lot of the Standard decks have a lot of crossover. So they're very similarly priced currently. And Hex doesn't have, like, the reserved list problem or the, you know, the we don't like to print our cards problem. I think the most expensive single in Hex right now is Bride of the Damned, and it's, like, $25 or so. But most of the cards are much cheaper than that. Like, the average constructed staple is, like, an average constructed rare that's a staple is, like, somewhere between, like, $4 and $10, depending on what it is. Yep, in fact, this Dingle card, it's not, it turned my opponent's troop into something else while it was on the chain. So this card was originally a 3/3, and I turned it into a 0/1. So my opponent's playing a Valor on their Hero of Legend to power it up here a little bit. They're going to go ahead and crack us for 4. Transmogrifade's a great draw. This takes their troop and reverts it, which means it turns it back to base stats, and then turns it into a random troop with -1 cost. So hopefully it's going to turn into something worse than a 4/5. Turned into a 2/1. Sign me up. I'm going to play my Thunderfield Seer out here. This Silver Talon Adjudicator is one of my favorite cards in this deck. It's a 3/2 with Flight. And it says, when this comes into play, if your opponent has more life than you, you gain 5 life. And if they have more cards in hand than us, we draw 2 cards. So I'm going to play this. And my opponent currently has 6 cards in their hand, so we're going to get to draw 2 cards when this comes into play. Man, when it rains, it pours. Daughter of the Poet, sure. This card's pretty scary. It says at the end of every one of their turns, if they have 5 diamond thresholds, so basically if they've played 5 white lands, they get to return a troop from their discard pile to play. Hopefully, are any of these prophesized? So this shard is prophesized, and this is prophesized. So these are both going to draw extra cards when we play them. So hopefully those can propel us into some stronger stuff here. There's no point in really blocking here other than preserve my life total, and I'm really not in a position where I need to do that yet, because if I block and trade with this, my opponent will just get to return it to play with their Daughter of the Poet. Moonrise Elder. When this comes into play, my opponent generates a Valor power-up for every one of their Ardent troops, which are 3 of them currently. Alright, well, let's lead on this focus that draws an extra card and see what we find. Looking for some more answers. Alright, Bird's not bad. That'll gain us some life this time around. More resources. You already have a whole bowl full of cereal. Alright, well, we've got plenty of birds. Unfortunately, we have the same number of cards in hand as our opponent right now, so we're not going to get to draw cards with this. But we had less life than our opponent this time around, so we did get to gain some life there. Maybe I should have attacked there. Combat damage doesn't go on the stack in Magic anymore either. They changed that a little while ago. It's been a long time actually since they changed that. You're a brat. I love you, but you're a brat. Alright, so I'm going to try and trade 2 birds for this Daughter of the Poet, and I'm going to use the Thunderfield Seer to chump block their 5/6 here. If they have a removal spell for one of these birds, it's going to feel a little bit bad. But if we get to trade these 2 for this and then burn their champion power on it, they have an aspect of the squirrel. Wow, that's a beating. So this gives their troop +3/+3 permanently. And it gains all the socketed powers of that. So that's an 8/8 now. That's kind of a beating. We really need a Transmogrifade. Another one of those real soon. Man, this matchup's usually pretty good for us. Our opponent's got a lot of cards that are pretty well positioned. Alright, yeah, another focus. Let's get 3 more looks here. Alright, Dark Heart's okay. Psychic Ascension. Okay, Psychic Ascension is the type of card that could definitely help us grind through this. So, what Psychic Ascension does is, Psychic Ascension is a card that every time we play an action, if this is in our deck or hand, it gets cheaper. It starts costing 15, and this changes what our champion does. It makes it so we turn into a Paragon of Thought, which makes it whenever we play an action, we get a random troop. So basically, it kind of lets us play a game of Momir Vig. Don't grab the microphone, tiny child. Not in a good spot here. The Psychic Ascension still might not be enough. Pull us out of this. They're hitting us for a lot this turn. I'm probably going to have to chump with both of these, actually. This space, so all of their troops get +3/+3 in the attacker. We might just be dead. Yeah, this is 14, 18. I can only block 2 of these, so I can only go to 17. Man, that's a... All right, well, we definitely want our Clash of Steels. So one of the other things that Hex does a little bit different than a lot of the other games is their competitive ladder is best of 3 for the games. So it's not just one and done like a lot of the other games are. Definitely want those. I don't I don't know if Totem Trap's good enough against this non-Ruby version. Clash of Steel says each player chooses one card they control and voids all others. That's pretty powerful when my opponent's going wide. I want one Psychic Ascension. Pride's Fall is pretty reasonable in this matchup. I wonder if I want Diamond's Favor. They're pumping their cards up a lot. This destroys a random troop with defense 5 or more. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. Glory's probably not particularly good. Ow, don't hit me in the face.
Oh no!
Void is exile. Yep. I'm going to cut one Lanupaw's Sight, and I'm going to bring in a Diamond's Favor, and I'm bringing the last Dark card. So Dark card, this card is customizable, that's socketed. So in between games, and when I build my deck, I choose what power-ups this gets. So in this aggressive matchup, I'm going to give this +2 defense, and it's also going to have -2 cost when I draw it. You think we want Dread End? I guess it nerfs all their stuff. Maybe that's better than those. All right, I bet that for $1. Do you want Dread End in addition to Clash or instead of? I'm going to submit as in addition to, but I'm not sure. It might be better just instead of. I'd love to go first. This hand's fine. We have Dingle on 2, and we have Adjudicators. Usually my opponent's deck is good at keeping its hand kind of full because they make Valor, so Adjudicator often draws us cards in this matchup, so it's kind of a source of card advantage. You're really revved up this morning, aren't you, child? Revved up and ready to go? Well, that's pretty scary. So this card, every time they play one of their Valor cards on this, it creates a copy of itself. Altha! With the 12-month resubscription. Thank you for the continued support an entire year. That's a long time. It's kind of insane that all of y'all have stayed with me for so long. I appreciate it. Welcome back. We're going to hold up Dingle this turn so we can turn whatever troop they play out into an ugly little guy. Attack us for 2 here. If they don't have a 2-drop, that's pretty good for us too. The next turn we get to play Focus plus hold Dingle up. Not playing into Dingle, or they might just not have to play. Alright, so you can see the Psychic Ascension cost 15, and when I played my first action, it ticked down to 14. Looking for a resource with this. Perfect. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to take the Thunderfield Seer here, so we can Dingle this dork, and then the Thunderfield Seer can block this guy as a follow-up. They definitely have a 3-drop here if they didn't have a 2-drop, so I'm not playing the Thunderfield Seer this turn. I want to Dingle them. Yeah, so the resource system right now, so I've played 3 total resources, and basically I've played one white and 2 blue resources. So I have 3 total resources, and I have 1 white threshold and 2 blue thresholds. This card costs 4 total resources to play, and it requires that I've played at least 1 sapphire and 1 diamond threshold. Psychic Ascension costs 13 total resources to play, and required I've played 2 sapphire thresholds. Rockman00 with the 2-month resubscription. Thank you for the continued support. I do appreciate it. Welcome back. I would love to draw a shard here, and we did. And this is a dual resource, so when I play this, it gives me a resource, and I pick which of these thresholds I want. So I have some double diamond cards in my deck, so I'm going to go ahead and get a second diamond. I'm going to play out the Silver Talon Adjudicator. It doesn't gain us life because we're at 23 and they're at 21, but it does draw us a couple of cards. The Resub Hype Train! 10 months! Griffin Bruce, thank you for the continued support. Welcome back. Bah! I'm just gonna go ahead and take this trade here. Like, the Silver Talon drew me 2 cards, so like my Divination traded with your 2-1, sign me up. Thresholds are light colors. Yep, so there's 5 different colors in the game. You see here, my opponent's playing a diamond deck as well, but they also have wild cards in their deck. If you're interested in reading a little bit about Hex, you can check it out in this article here. I explain some of the key differences between Hex and Magic. I'm happy to answer questions here in chat, and people in chat will help answer as well, I'm sure. But if you want to just get a quick overview, that's there as well. Lanupaw's Sight. So, yeah, I think we're just going to go Seer, Sight, Focus. Seer, Sight, Shard this turn. So the Seer prophecies into the next action of my deck gets draw a card, and then Lanupaw's Sight, the next troop action and resource in my deck get when you play this draw card. So the next action I draw is going to draw us 2 cards in addition to doing what it normally does. Oh, and actually, turn Cruisebot to Hex mode. I'm going to go ahead and chump block here, because if I don't chump block here, my opponent's going to get a Valor, which will let them copy this. So whenever they Valor this, it copies itself. And that gave them a couple of Valors anyways here. So, yeah. So they get to Valor this and copy it, and then they get to Valor the copy and make a copy. Hopefully we draw Dread End. Okay, that's a resource that draws a card, so let's start by playing that. And there's a Dark Heart that's prophesized, so it draws a card. I'm going to start by playing this Focus. If we find a Dread End, I probably want to play that instead. More resources, okay. Alright. So the Dark Heart here says my opponents get to sacrifice a non-socketed card. Unfortunately, we gave them this ugly Dingler, so they are just going to get to sacrifice the Dingler this turn. They don't have removal for this. We're in an okay spot. If they have removal for this, we're going to be a little bit up a creek. They're probably just, like, cracking with all their squad here, right? Or probably these 3. Because they want to... This guy says, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and block the Hero of Legend. This is actually kind of tough. So I could block and kill this one. Because then they can't make more Conjurers. Yeah, I think that's best, actually. Just take 12 here. They don't have Wild Threshold, so they can't play an Aspect of the Squirrel here. So we take 12, they generate 4 Valors, which actually means our Silver Talon Adjudicators will probably draw cards next turn, which is not the worst. Oh, they had a return their guy to play. All right, well, really need to draw a Clash or a Dread End. Clash or Dread End would clean this board up nicely. That's not a Clash or a Dread End. Play this. I guess I'm going to start with this. This is going to be 2 draws to draw a Clash of Steel. Man, we cannot escape the flood in any game today. Oh, I forgot about his thing. Little while. Alright, well, you know. So, because Hex has resources in the deck just like Magic, you know, occasionally you're going to flood and die. The bird was not 2 draws. We had 5 cards in our hand, and they had 4 cards in theirs. So, one of the things Hex does a little bit differently than Magic to kind of alleviate some of that variance that the resource draws have is that Hex modifies the opening hands that you have. So, Hex uses a hypergeometric distribution to remove the 10% most resource light hands and the 5% most resource dense hands. So, basically, everyone in Hex mulligans 15% less than you would in Magic because everyone has less all resource hands and less no resource hands than you would in a game where just like your opening hands are decided by just pure RNG. Which is nice, like you play more actual games. Like the number of games where one player floods or mulligans and dies in Magic is like, there's a lot of them over the course of a lot of games. Wait for another ladder match to pop here. Yeah, right? And the ladder on Hex is completely free to play. Hex's Dread End takes every troop in play and turns it into a 1/1 with speed that dies at the end of turn. So, it's kind of a pseudo-sweeper that makes us take some damage. But it's powerful. It reverts all the troops too, so it's especially good against my opponent's champion power where they could bring troops back from their discard pile because it actually turns the troops into something else. And they stay changed as they change zones. Go ahead and go first here. My opponent's playing Kaigalichu for their champion, which is generally one of the more grindy mid-range champions. Lead on Wakuna Coin here. They start with 21 life. Their champion power for 4 charges puts the bottom 3 cards of their deck into their discard pile and then returns a random card from their discard pile to their hand. How do I subscribe with Prime membership again? If you're on the desktop web browser, I'm not sure if you do it for mobile. You click by the little subscribe thing and there should be a free subscribe option, Lido. Correct, except in the context of Hex and Magic, they would be turned into token cards. In Hex, the created cards can actually go into the discard pile, so you can use them. There's a lot of things in Hex that depend on voiding things from your troops from your discard pile to gain power-ups, so the fact that they go to the discard pile is relevant. Opponent played a Death Seeker on 1 here, and actually this is one of them. This is a 2-1 for 1. And has two different scrounge abilities. So when they play this, if they voided 1 troop from their crypt, it would get Rage 1, which makes it bigger every time it attacks. Or if they removed 4 troops from their crypt, it would never be able to die. Basically, every time it dies, it would go back to their hand. So this is kind of a sweet card because it's a 2-1 for 1-on-1, so a good aggressive card, but it's also a reasonable draw in the mid to late game. Yeah, that too. After there are things that can untransform things. They call it reverting in Hex. You can revert a card back to its original state if it's been transformed. Opponent doesn't have a turn 2 play. That's good for us. So we're going to go ahead and play this Sapphire. This deny, just someone asked earlier if there were counters in Hex. This interrupts a card, so it takes it off the chain and discards it. Deathseeker can do both scrounges if you have 5 troops in your crypt. Yep. Yeah, the set 7 keywords are awesome. I really love the card Guidance. I am super pumped to play a Sapphire Diamond control deck, something like this, with Guidance and Arcane Focus in it. So, this only draws me cards if my opponent has more cards in hand than me. So they have 5 cards right now. If I transmog this, I'll have 5 cards. I'll draw up to 6. I'll play this resource down to 5. I'll play this bird down to 4. So I'm going to go ahead and spend this Transmogrifade on this troop that I don't really care about because it's going to let me draw 2 cards with the Silver Talon Adjudicator. Drawing both by Psychic Ascension is a little awkward. We drew another Transmogrifade, though, so that's good. So if my opponent sneaks something through this turn where I don't have any resources up to deny or dingle, I can Transmog to take care of it. I mean, it doesn't mess with Prophecy too much, because, like, your next card's still going to be Prophesied. You want more? So my opponent's using their champion power here. Lido! Welcome back. I appreciate the continued support. So they returned an Acolyte Ashoku from their discard pile to their hand. So this card gives them a temporary resource to beginning of their turn, and they can pay 3 to summon a Dreadling. That's one of those 1/1s that dies right away, or dies at the end of turn. And the fact that this was their only play here means we're going to be in a really good spot, because their board doesn't really do much, and we've got two interrupts here. Go ahead and play Focus here. So I kind of want the deny, but because I have 2 Psychic Ascensions in my hand, I'm just going to play this Focus, and we got the deny back anyways. So that way, because every action I play ticks these Psychic Ascensions down. Yeah, I think if you're Sapphire Diamond, you just like play all 8 for sure. You could definitely cut like 2 to 3 resources out of the deck and like play like a 23 shard control deck. Replace Deny Constructed. I don't know if it'll replace it necessarily, because, like, Deny's effect is reasonable. Like, the number of times you play, like, Darkheart on 6. Wow, that's good. So my opponent used this. So my Transmogrifade turned my opponent's troop into this Polyberry pouch, which transforms the troop into a random troop with +1 cost, and they got a Midnight Gatherer. So they turned their Dreadling that was going to die into a Midnight Gatherer. The secondary part on Deny says, if a troop entered play under control... enter play under your control this turn, it costs 2 less. So, like, if we play a 5-drop on turn 6, we can deny a removal spell during our end step, which is reasonable. No, you'll just play both MDG. That's what we were just talking about. Do I want to transmog this? Yeah, I think I do. This gives them a resource every time it readies. So... we'll only have one set where, because Focus is Armies of Myth, right? Yeah. So, Focus will rotate with set 8, so we'll only get one standard set where we get to play Focus and Guidance at the same time. So, this is again where Dingle is better than just interrupting it. This card, they can sacrifice a troop to return it from their discard pile to play, but Dingle doesn't actually discard it. It turns it into an ugly 0-1. So enjoy your ugly 0-1, opponent. Kind of wanted to draw a shard there, because if we drew a shard, we'd have 7 charges to create an Oracle Song with Dreaming Fox, but that's fine. Playing this out means I can't double deny next turn, but I probably don't need to double deny next turn. There is not a game log in Hex currently. It's definitely something their client needs. We're actually playing 2 Paragon of Thoughts in the main right now, and you do want the second one against Withering Gaze type effects, but I was just not drawing them soon enough. We had so many games where, like, my one Psychic Ascension was in, like, the bottom 10 cards of my deck, and I really wanted to see it sooner than that in the longer games. So they're cycling a resource here. This discards 2 cards off the top of their deck and then draws a card. There's, like, Snap, Deny, whatever they do here. Anything relevant. Go and attack with these. I'm just going to go ahead and trade my 1-1 for their 1-1 here. That's fine. Preserve our life total a little bit. This Adjudicator is actually kind of a real clock, right? Like, they're at 12 here. Well, third deny I'm not going to complain about. We're winning the race here. And that one, you can see this deny has been prophesized by my Thunderfield Seer, so it draws a card when we play it. When is the next set / rotation? So, rotation will be 2 sets from now. Hex, the oldest 2 Hex sets rotate with every even set release. So set 7 just started having spoilers happen. So that'll probably be released in about a month. And then set 8 will likely be about 5 months down the line. Or 5 to 6 months down the line. We're 10 out of 10 going to deny that. It's just an annoying 3/3 that makes my troops smaller. Oh, and they have 5 blood thresholds. So this card lets them take my troops when they die. So we definitely don't want that to happen. And we're just 10 out of 10 going to deny this one as well, because when this comes into play, it gets to destroy one of my cards. I like my Silver Talon Adjudicator. They haven't said that we're necessarily going to get all new gems, right? So we finally drew our 7th resource, so we get to activate our champion power and draw 2 cards here. And these Psychic Ascensions are actually going to be castable starting next turn. Which is good, because we're down to 1 deny here, so we're probably going to need something to help punch through the rest of this. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. We have these Psychic Ascension take over the game. So this card, want to talk about powerful answers. In addition to destroying the troop I had in play that it targeted, it takes every copy of that troop out of my deck and voids it. So there's no more Silver Talon Adjudicators in my deck. Which is a little bit sad, but probably fine since we have these Psychic Ascensions. Dark Heart. I'm just going to ascend here. So now my champion's going to change. You'll see my portrait will change. My champion power only costs 1 now. It activates to create a random action. And now whenever I play any actions out of my hand, I'm going to get a random troop. So basically this makes actions which then make troops, and the actions in my deck also make troops. Did they say that? I must have missed that post. Hopefully they don't have anything too scary to do with the resources this turn, since I don't have Altar of Nulzann? God, remember that time we put this to... What? We're gonna die. So Transmog? Transmog? Well, that's another deny, so we need something live off of here. Declan. Be good. So this card starts as a 4/4, but while it's in their hand, whenever something dies, it gets +1/+1 permanently, and it has speed, and it can't be blocked by troops with power less than it. Wow, so we got super punished. I wasn't expecting a Gallows Ghast out of their deck. Like, this is, like, one of the few cards that could really kill us here. Because, like, normally we're just going to get to, like, generate a bunch of stuff that gums up the board. Yeah. Wow. We're dead. Good game, opponent. That's really unfortunate. Eldurathan's Glory is not particularly good in this matchup. I like to trim this. I like to trim a couple of these. Pride's Fall is good. Diamond's Favor is probably fine. Loregoyle Curator is okay. Totem Trap's okay. I think we're just going to submit like this, and we know to play around Gallows Ghast now, I guess. It's a beating. Okay, sweet. They have Altar as Clash reasonable? Maybe. Maybe that's fine. Sounds okay. Likely gonna get to draw cards to Silver Talon Adjudicator. Man, I guess, I guess I punted that game in 2 ways. The first is, if I was planning to just tap out for Psychic Ascension, they're actually a socket deck. Weird. Like, nothing they did that first game made me think they were a sockets deck until they played the Altar. So this card makes all their socketed cards cost 1 less. So I could have just denied the removal spell on my bird, and then my bird would have just killed them in 2 turns if they didn't have another removal spell for it. So I could have done that, or I could have just held the deny up so the Gallows Ghast couldn't happen. Feel free to tweet screenshots at me. I don't, I try not to look at stuff like that while I'm actually streaming, because there's a lot going on while I stream, so. Just pass the turn here, probably transmogging this. There aren't really good quick troops in any of the colors right now. I'm gonna transmog this. Hopefully it turns into something we can block profitably. Hey, look, a 1/2. Diamond out, play this Adjudicator, draw a couple cards. Actually? Huh. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this out. This can damage blocking troops, so I'm gonna attack it. Next turn, if they block with that, we can Totem Trap their sentry, which seems great. Poor Brown Foxy. Alright, so we're sitting kind of pretty this game. We get to go ahead and attack with both of these. They probably block the Thunderfield Seer. We Totem Trap this. So let's just draw 2 cards. And then we have a deny here. We were sitting really pretty last game too, though, so let's try and not get too far ahead of ourselves, I guess. Go ahead and play this Seer out and then pass the turn. If they play something reasonable, we can deny it. If they don't, we can cycle the Wakuna Coin to draw a card and gain some life. Just gonna go ahead and deny this. They're probably taking the deny anyway, so I might as well not give them access to knowing what's in our hand. Were they not have a follow-up? That's gross. Dingle is great. It's good insurance. Pride's Fall, also reasonable. I'll play this. I'm going to be greedy and just cycle this. We'll probably draw another resource at some point, and if we don't, we can wait on our champion power. Opponent commenting that their draw is a little anemic. You know, when we look like the aggro deck, you know your draw is probably more than a little anemic. Yep, bird down. It's one of the reasons why we board out the extra Adjudicators in this matchup, because we don't want to get stuck with them in our hand when we get Hero Fallen. Look at that, just drew another resource right away. So our next turn, we're going to be able to play this and then Oracle Song to draw 2 off our champion power. It's like, this champion power is so good. It's like exactly what a control deck wants. It's like, all right, we hit turn 7. We're like almost running out of gas. Let's just like fill the tank back up. Yeah, there's an altar in their deck too. I'm not quite sure. It might just be like cards they like, just like a sweet mixture of blood wild things. Darkheart, alright. Having Uggo. I'm burning a Dingle on this as opposed to just Pride Falling because that Dingle was prophesized, so it's going to draw us a card. So now we're pretty firmly in the driver's seat. We got 2 interrupts, a piece of removal, and then this Lanupaw site just gave us 3 card draws in the bank. So it's gonna be pretty hard pressed to claw back into this, I think. We just now that we know to play around Gallows Gas and like not leave ourselves dead to that 1 card, and then hopefully we could squeak out the 3rd game afterwards. Yeah, I think the thing that tilts me the most about games like Eternal and Hearthstone is just like when you run bad or get blown out by something like Gallows Gas and like a best of 1 ladder, it's just like, this feels miserable. Like, my opponent had their thing and I have no chance to redeem myself by like playing well in the next couple of games. Which deck? The deck that I'm playing right now? This deck that I'm playing runs about, I think it's like 140 $40 or so, and actually half of that cost is, have I played one yet this game? Yeah, Transmogrifade's about $15. So, like, $60 or so of the cost is Transmogrifade. This is a rare piece of rule. This is basically like Hex's Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile. This is just like the premium Sapphire removal spell that's like a 4x index in Standard and Immortal. And you could actually play the deck without it reasonably if you wanted to make the deck cheaper. You could play like Pride's Falls and more Totem Traps in the main deck, or Diamond's Favors perhaps. It's a card we're countering. This says whenever they play a socketed card the first time in turn, they get to draw a card, and it makes a socketed card. Yeah. Cruising in the bot's been good. Can you make it not do the swearing thing? And can you make it not respond? I sent you a thing on Discord. But it's been useful. I switched it to Hex mode. Don't you dare dump the bullet Cheerios, you brat. Don't do it, bratty toddler. Need to tilt it up more. Why is Magic the Gathering so expensive, right? Like this is the most expensive card. Alright, so this card made a troop when it came into play, and it's Skyguard and Steadfast. So, man, I guess our gloating, we're kind of running out of gas here. Wow, they generated a Mad Progenitus. Okay, probably have to Pride's Fall that. Hopefully our last card isn't Gallows Ghast. The average, like, tier... This control deck I'm playing is tier 1. I top 8 their last 5K constructed tournament with this. I have a really good win rate with it on their constructed ladder. Is the average constructed deck at Hex is like somewhere between like $80 and $150 on average for the tier 1 decks. Alright, Psychic Ascension. Hopefully that's good enough this game. Sweep away. Okay, that buys us time against... I'm going to attack with both of these, because if they want to block, I can Totem Trap their guy. Now for Standard or Immortal, that's for Standard, but most of the decks in Standard right now, like, this Standard deck is expensive because of this card that's also an Immortal staple. So, like, the cards that are expensive staples in Hex's Standard form right now are pretty much also expensive Immortal staples. So Hex only has 6 sets right now, and their Standard format is currently sets 3 through set 6, so there's only 2 sets that aren't Standard legal. That's really good. I'm going to go ahead and sweep this Runeer away in response to them making a thing, because the Runeer gets bigger every time a thing comes into play. I guess this lets them generate another random. That's fine. We are definitely going to play a game. Psychic Ascension versus Zorath Victory is real. No, we're currently playing on Hex's Standard ladder. Man, so we just got punished here. This card's kind of hard for us to beat. But I have these Diamond's Favors to destroy constants, but I transmogged them into a constant. We're going to make them sack a constant here. So they're going to get rid of the Academy, I assume. But, like, it doesn't feel good. Let's attack with all these. We usually need to kill my opponent here at some point. This would be the Hex deck that you want to play. This is the grindy, I'm going to outvalue you control deck. Has a lot of powerful answers. This would definitely be the equivalent of what you'd want to play as a control deck. That's a Yazucan. Man, our opponent's really making a game out of this. I thought we were going to get to run away with it. I don't understand why they're not making Dreadlings. All right, I'm going to hear after. This actually lets me take a troop out of their crypt, which is good for us. I'm going to take their Underworld Crusader. Yeah, Sapphire Diamond control deck. It's just the Sapphire Diamond control deck. Doesn't have any kind of fancy name. Sapphire Diamond are the 2 threshold types it has here. I actually had an article published on the main Hex TCG website that was a primer for the deck. And if you, there's a Hex deck list button below the stream that will, is that lethal? I think that's lethal. This makes four Dreadlings, right? And then my opponent can block this and go to 5, and then the Dreadlings kill them. It does not cost anything to play on the ladder. Completely free. Alright, so I definitely want the Diamond's favor if they have Rectory in their deck. I'm going to cut this Loregoyle Curator. I'm going to bring in these clashes with some of the other stuff that they showed us, I think. Actually, I'm going to bring in a Verdict to the Ancient Kings, too. This is one more interrupt. Hey, Dinotropia with the clutch link. That's a link to the Sapphire Diamond control deck there, and I talk about some sideboarding tips with it, as well as your roles or what the different cards do and why they're good, bad, or otherwise. Okay, that seems pretty good. It's got Thunderfield Seer into some Transmog. It's got an Adjudicator, hopefully draw some extra cards here. There's still a chance, Dax. So the playing field that we're playing on, when you build your deck, some of the things you can customize aesthetically in Hex are, you can see my opponent and I have different card sleeves that we put on the backs of our decks. And then you could also customize the game board that you play. And if you both have custom game boards, it takes turns using yours and your opponent's. Declan, I'd appreciate it if you didn't try and jump off the back of my chair. This card is basically just going to wreck us. So this card, for 3 resources, it summons the 1/1 with speed that dies at the end of turn. But it also gives it, when that thing attacks, they gain a permanent and a temporary resource. So basically, they just get to sit here and make a bunch of 1/1s and attack us and snowball. So like, they'll pay 3, they'll make one that makes 1, and then eventually they'll make multiple. Oh, they don't have wild. They don't have wild. That's good for us. I'm gonna transmog this Dorko. Okay, that's a deny. Hopefully they keep missing wilds here. This deny draws a card, because it was prophesized by Masir. Still no wild out of them. And again, gonna Withering Gaze because they just take this otherwise, and I want to get the card draw off of this from the Prophecy. Another Crusader, okay. Leave another Transmog. You ever want to practice playing while distracted? I'll lend you my kids for a day. I'm gonna take the Psychic Ascension. Ow! Don't bite me! Yeah, I know. You think you're hilarious. Your teeth hurt, child. Biting is not okay. Biting is not okay. Yep, they found a wild threshold here, so they're probably gonna just snowball this Rectory into killing us now. And then transmog that guy, sure. Block here. Hopefully we can get to this Psychic Ascension. This Silver Talon here might help us bridge the gap. I'm gonna Dingle this. Just use our resources this turn. That's gonna make a 4-drop for them, so I'd rather they don't. Rather you didn't. Man, remember that time we skipped a resource for a Psychic Ascension and then drew another Psychic Ascension? Feels bad, man. I'm just gonna pass the turn here. Hopefully my opponent goes just like thing here and can't play any cards out of their hand, and then we draw a resource, we could draw a card with the Silver Talon Adjudicator. Something for 5 they're gonna play out here. Yep. Huh. Alright, well that's a shard, but they played a resource, so I can't actually do anything with that that's useful. Just gonna pass the turn, I guess. Because we're both at 20 life too, because my opponent didn't attack me for an extra 1 since they were playing the Dark Heart, so I'm not just playing the Silver Talon Adjudicator out to chump block. Take a hit for 8 here. Next turn, this can make 4 idiots. Yep, that's a sharpshooter. Like I said, this card just snowballs so hard and fast. Oh, geez, sharpshooter goes out too. This gets bigger when they attack with things. Resource is good here because it lets us activate our champion power. So maybe we get like a Clash of Steel or something like that. We have 2 clashes in my deck, right? I can also hit a Diamond's Favor. Or we could flood a little bit more. So it's looking like we're going to end up losing this game to a little bit of flood, but, you know, we definitely, that first game was definitely winnable if I would have sequenced my cards correctly. Wow, yeah, Massacre's real strong. I mean, like, I've got 2 Diamond's Favors in my deck, and we're through 18 cards without seeing them. We lost $24 playing Modern this morning. We're probably not playing Modern unless someone wants to. Whoa! Super dead. Super dead. Good Cave's opponent. Aspect is real good. Alright, let's queue up one more before we call it a day. So opponent's playing Bishop Elijah here, like our first opponent was today. What are the best decks beyond Mono Sapphire and Red Links? Those who know me and I don't want to play them to climb. I think this deck that I'm playing is very good. I played this for a lot of my ladder climb. It's slow, so if you could deal with the slow, it's great. But the other good choices, what are there's this deck. If you don't mind, it's definitely not tier 1, but I really like playing the Ruby Wild Socket deck. We've played a lot of that on stream as well. Valor Bombus, we played that a little bit yesterday on stream. I think that deck is also very reasonable. The Blood Sapphire control deck is fine. I think the Blood Sapphire control deck is worse than this deck that I'm playing right now. So, like, if you have the choice between the two, I think this one's, like, cheaper dollar-wise to build, and I think it's better. What is Hex Heroes? Someone asks. Hex Heroes is my Hex testing team. It consists of myself, Mappamonte, Chris Van Meter, Holidays, Bob and Cheese, and Andrewd. There's 7 of us, I believe. Let me check Discord. Yeah, there's 7 of us. My wife's in there, too. She's, like, the team manager. So there's 7 of us, and we do all of our testing for different Hex tournaments together. Spiritbound Spy is an interesting card to have in their deck. Yeah, they must not be an Ardent Crusader deck, right? If they have Spiritbound Spy in their deck. Like, I just see, you know, Diamonds, I assume Ardent Crusader. I guess that's incorrect. Well, I mean, Bishop Elijah, I expect them to have Daughter of the Poet, right? Like, Bishop's the big payoff for Daughter, because, like, Daughter returns your troops to play, and Bishop can return Daughter should they ever kill the Daughter. Yep, did I not say Kent's name? Yeah, he's probably number 7. Kent, Chris, Matt, Holidays, Bob, Andrewd. I'm just going to play the Wakuna Coin out here. I want to make sure we hit our first 5 resources so we can play this Dark Heart of Nulzann on time. Next turn, we're going to be able to play this Silver Talon Adjudicator out to gain some life. Unfortunately, my opponents looks like they're playing Mono Diamond, so this Daughter of the Poet's going to get online pretty soon. It's going to let them keep bringing something back, so it's basically just going to counter my Dark Heart trigger. Allie is not in the group. Ugh. Kent is easy to forget. I mean, I was doing it off the cuff. I guess I did name everyone except Kent, right? Or Decree of Banishing one. Sure. I guess this lets them attack with everything, so that's fine. I'm going to trade this with the front half of the Spiritbound Spy, I think, here. The next action we draw is going to draw 2 cards, which would be nice. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Balmy breezes blowing through ya. This card's real good against Daughter of the Poet. So when this card comes into play, it voids every troop with defense 3 or less. So basically my opponent's entire board. Oh yeah, he's gone. That's fine. Aggro me out. Hit me for 5. Silver Talon Adjudicator gained us 5, so that's fine. So that Lanupaw sight's a delayed draw 3, and it draws 2 right away. Sign me up. Frown. Attack. Yeah, they have no reason to block here. Play this Lanupaw side, draw a bunch of cards here. Have a Deny and a Dingle, so yeah, in a pretty good spot. A giant 5/5 in play. Massacre is kind of sweet too, because like if you're playing Dark Heart control with Massacre, your first Massacre doesn't kill your Dark Heart, which is awesome. And again, my opponent's deck returns things from the discard pile to play, so turning this into an ugly 0/1 as opposed to just countering it with the deny and discarding it is valuable. We're going to bring in Glory. Leave one Psychic Ascension. Adjudicator's kind of medium in this matchup, it feels like. Clash of Steel seems fine. Bring in my extra Dark Heart. I think I like that. Might be a little too many 5s. So it's tough to explain it to people in Hex, because Hex, like, the best way to explain rotation to people is that they have an option to play a format that doesn't rotate, right? Yeah, right, we're just playing against mostly real things. Oh, I forgot Loregoyle. Yeah, good call. That's fine. This hand's great. Hex is great. Life's great. Play this Thunderfield Seer here on 1. What would you recommend I pick up first? Dark Wonders, 10 out of 10. I would build the Valor Bombus deck with as many transmogs as possible. You might only be able to get like one transmog after that, but like Shackling Strands and like other removal spells are very reasonable in that deck. You'll be able to pick up the Lasgar's Vengeance or the other important cards. Man, when you prophesize onto your 15 drop, tilt. Oh, you know what? I don't even know if I'm transmogging this since I have the Glory in my hand already. Probably not. You have 4 transmogs already. Well, if you have 4 transmogs already, you could 10 out of 10 build the Valor Bombus deck for less than 6,400. Transmog was really cheap at one point. Like, my wife's set of transmogs we bought for, like, 30 or 400 plat. That's not true. Lasgar's Vengeances are, like, $5 a pop. So, like, and the other cards have some costs. So, like, transmogs are definitely the biggest portion, though. So we're just living to make it to these glories here so we can void their board up. My opponent is commenting that their deck is designed to beat the blood-based removal decks, and it's pretty poor against what I'm doing, and I definitely agree with that. You just lick my hand? Why are you such a... I mean, I guess licking's better than biting, huh? Licking's better than biting? I should be happy you're licking me and not biting me? It's the little things, right, Declan? Yeah? Alright, well, we hit Darkheart here, and Darkheart says the turn we draw it, it costs 2 less to play, so we can play this out for just 1 resource, or 3 resources this turn. How does buying things on Hex Primal work? Do you get a redeemable code or something? So after you buy things on Hex Primal, when you check out, they ask you for your in-game name, and they send it via the in-game mail system. So I think their guaranteed delivery is within 12 hours. Usually it's, well less than an hour. I don't think I've ever waited more than an hour to get stuff from them. It'll just appear in the corner here. I can't click into it because I'm in a game right now. This mail icon, there'd be a 1 here if I had a mail. Yeah, the Ardent deck is actually something I've been meaning to play myself, because it's kind of aggressive and it's got pretty good matchups across the board. Dark Wonders is actually going to be my last match of the day. So, we're ending early. I actually started about 4 hours ago, so. Hopefully we hit a non-slow shard here so we can play this Glory. So end of turn, this is going to bring their other thing back into play. If we hit a non-slow shard, this Glory is going to get to void both their Dorkos anyways. Hey, there's a shard. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Balmy breeze is blowing through, yeah. Yep, I will be back on tomorrow afternoon with Warhex. Do I just want to play this to gain life? Yeah, probably. It's also like, this isn't a quick clock, but it puts a clock on the table. Like, my opponent's at 27, it's a 9-turn clock. This is probably never going to draw cards in this matchup at this point. That's the reason why we boarded most of them out. This is literally my last match, Kent. That's really good. A 5/5 with Life Drain and Flight. Okay, man, deny right on time. Huh. Well, that's gonna kill us pretty quickly. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just Glory next turn and get rid of that. It's gonna cash this in to gain some life. I'm gonna deny this one because otherwise it gets to... Oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. It would have gotten... Well, now they're gonna think I just drew this, I guess. Yeah, I'll wait a turn now. God, I'm so stupid. That only had 2 defense. It would have... That's fine. Let's just do this. Ooh, Clash of Steel. That's good. Transmogrifade too. Yep, it's everything we want in life. All right. So if they keep this, my Glory's gonna come back from this. Oh, he could escort and bounce here too. That's probably the best line. They escort, bounce this, yeah, and then they get to keep the Decree of Banishing, so I don't get my Glory back, which is fine. Then they replay that thing next turn and I transmog it, and then we're getting close enough to the Psychic Ascension that draws a card, because we prophesized onto it, that could take over the game for us. So this is unfortunately going to give them a random 7-drop, but I think that's better for us. I might be wrong. That's probably not true. When this deals damage to opposing champion buried at the top card of her deck. Well, that's poop. I probably shouldn't have done what I just did. You know what's not great? Transmogging 8-drops. Alright, well, they get to draw 2 cards off our deck now. We could lose this game. I thought this was going to be the last game because we were pretty firmly in control. Oh, wait. Oh, they only draw 1 card off our deck. That's fine. And they have another Righteous Vanquisher. Well. I didn't board in Dread End, did I? Throwback. All right. Perfect. So this is triple Sapphire Threshold, so we could throw that one back. Right, so you're saying there's a chance. We're taking 7 here down to 15. They took a Sapphire Shard into an Arcane Focus. That's pretty good. Okay, probably just going to Glory next turn. I can throw back Glory and hold Dingle. We'll see what we draw and what our... Yep. That's a Dark Heart. Okay, so let's start with this, see what we do. Grease is pretty good. Yeah, I think I want to Glory and just... They're going to sack this to this, but that's fine. I can Dingle this on the way back down. And then this actually gives something Flight, right? So that gives me an answer to this long term. I could throw this back. Yep, I'm going to put that back in their hand. Good line. So throw this back. Oh, I get to look at their hand. That's pretty good. Do they have removal? Duskwing, Spirit Bound, sweet. So they don't have removal right now. Alright, let's Grace it Tianost off my champion power. It's going to be pretty good. Yeah, it could be okay as a finisher. That actually could kind of be a sweet fun of, right? Like, it's not a card that you want to draw a lot of, but like it's okay against the aggressive decks. Never actually tested that. Maybe we should have. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna cycle this, see what we get. This means I can't Grace and Dark Heart. JK, hit a resource. Spirit Howl, ready a troop. Okay, so I'm gonna Grace the Tianos this guy. So that gives him +2/+2, and when he flight and when he dies, he comes back. You brought your outside toy inside? Mom let you bring your outside toy inside? You're just like putty in. She's just like putty in your hands, isn't she? So that's flight on attack. We'll play the dark card out here. My opponent has a couple of bad troops that they can just sacrifice. Oh, remember that time they drew the best card in their deck? Peppered Farm remembers. So that voids it, so the Grace of Teodos doesn't let it come back. We just got to see their hand too. But how much would it cost to just buy this deck? About $140, I believe it is. If you buy it outright from Hex Primal. Put a copy they just top decked. I was like, we know, we saw your hand. All right, good bit of good little bit of RNG for us there. We're gonna get to block their Righteous Vanquisher next turn at least. Jump it louder. I mean, like, Magic does have good design in it. Like, there are certain things I can do in Magic that I can't do in Hex yet. I'm sure we'll probably be able to do them at some point, but, like, you know, there are. Just gonna attack with these, might as well. There's also more tournaments to be had in Magic. Yeah, like all of these are luxury hobbies, right? Sure. I think we're getting closer and closer to 0 outs here. I think we're getting to, like, need to go Shard, generate Purge. So we can only block one of these flight troops. We have to block this one because it'll kill us otherwise. Before damage, we're going to activate this Loregoyle Curator a whole bunch. Put a bunch of tombs in our deck. You know, on the off chance we, like, draw a bunch of tombs in a row. You need your shoes off. Jacob. It is okay, buddy. Sorry, it's tough being 3. Alright, we go to 2 here. I'm actually not sure if we have outs, but let's check and see. I know they want to come to mobile, but I don't know what. They have various holdups. Purge? Purge? Generate a flyer? That's kind of a flyer. I guess this could technically make a thing, right? Yep, that's not going to do it. I'm going to get a game 3 here, I guess. Yeah, I don't think I want Totem Trap in this matchup. I think I'd rather have Loregoyle and Dread End. Man, losing through Psychic Ascension is tough. We've done that twice today. Ah! We lost through Psychic Ascension twice today. Usually this card says win the game eventually. Reverting the flyer doesn't do anything. We're still dead on board. Yeah, we're still dead on board. We're at 2. You are correct that reverting the flyer was a line, but that didn't do anything. He had 3 power worth of flying guys, so we'd have 1 blocker and we were at 2. So, legal plays that are irrelevant. Double Dark Heart. Pretty good. Let's make sure we hit our resources. Well, we're definitely going to do that. I think since we drew another resource here, if they don't give us something to Dingle, we're going to cycle this Wakuna coin. Yeah, I'm gonna Dingle that. I don't want them to generate the card advantage from it. Let's cycle this now and see what we get. Alright, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get a diamond with this. Be conservative. I could be greedy and get a charge, but I think we just want a diamond, especially as we cycle the coin. Clash plus Dark Heart's a great combo too. This is the last game of today's stream. So this is game 3, so win or lose, we are done after this one. Alright, well I mean, doesn't let us cast our glory, but you know, a string of Dark Hearts are gonna be good here. Diamond Sphere, kill my Dark Heart, sure. Bringing that back then, that's weird. If we had a shard, we can play this Eldurathan's Glory and clear the board up, which would be nice. Alright. This is probably a shard, but it's not going to let us cast the Glory this turn, which might not be a bad thing. They could possibly extend out further. If we would have known we were going to draw a shard off the Prophecy drawn there, we definitely would have taken the coin to cycle, but it is what it is. Take 5 here. Okay, it's going to be good. Attack for 1, and then play our Glory. Clean their board up here. Okay, the fact that they killed the Diamond's Favor earlier to kill use the Diamond's Favor to kill a Dark card earlier means they don't have Diamond's Favor to save their troops from this, which is good for us. You got your toy cups? Yeah, cups. After Dad finishes this game, we're gonna eat some lunch, then maybe we can play outside, okay? Huh. Did they just draw the favor then? Maybe they thought killing this was more important than protecting their stuff? That shoe doesn't fit you. Ooh, this is gonna be good. So if they don't have a 1-drop here, we get to play this Dark Heart and just kill this. Should be good. Last time these cards took over the game because my opponent had a pretty wide board. So, get them. Sure, but one of the reasons why that card is great, like, and I don't think that's true, like, the defense buff is really good against, Lasgar's Vengeance, so that came up more often than not for me. I'm going to play Lanupaw Sight here and hold Deny for now. Maybe our life total is a little bit too low to do this. I don't know. We're at 17, so we're dead in 5 to this. Definitely might be a little bit greedy. Prophecy. Play my Dark card out. I'll have to sacrifice this. This is going to come back, but then it's not going to be able to attack for that turn. Yeah, denying a daughter is not super important here since we have the Clash of Steel. Yep. This can't attack because it just came into play. Transmog's an okay hit. I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple cards here and see what we get first, though. If we find our 4th Dark card or our 2nd Glory, we definitely want to play one of those. Psychic Ascension's getting castable. Brick. Yeah, I think the average 3-drop is less than 4. I'm just going to pass. Take one more hit from this. The way we've been running today, I'm going to transmog them into a Crusader and just hate myself. Although I guess if I transmog here, I could Psychic Ascension next turn, which would be nice. Yep. Oh, Declan, do I need to deny this? Maybe? Let's transmog this and then decide if we need to deny this. Yep, that's fine. This doesn't ready unless I sacrifice an artifact, so... Alright, let's try not to lose with Psychic Ascension resolved for the 3rd time today. Put target card you control into your hand. There we go. So we've got a couple of actions here. We need to dodge, like, Daughter this turn. And even if they hit Daughter this turn, we just get to go, like, Clash into Transmog. So, yeah, that seems fine for us. This is going to be my last game of the day. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I do appreciate it. Yeah, there's the Righteous Vanquisher. That's fine. I really don't want to Transmog that one, though. Learned that one the hard way last round. Retreat with the Owl's pretty good. Especially since it's prophesied, it draws us a card. So let's start on Clash of Steel here, clean up this board a little bit. I'll keep this one. Keep that one. Play the Silver Talon Adjudicator. I'm gonna play this Thunderfield Seer because we can actually we can still deny next turn with only 2 resources up here, because we're going to block with this, retreat it. The retreat's going to generate a troop from our Psychic Ascension, which will make this deny cost only 1. So block there. Retreat! Get another Thunderfield Seer. Okay, hopefully we can manage to not lose this one to their 5/5. We will 10 out of 10 deny that. Opponent's giving it the old college try here, but you're probably going to get this one. Shard board's pretty good. Cycle this, draw a card, gain a little bit more life. Another Transmog. Probably still shouldn't Transmog this. Don't worry, Jake. Declan's going to bed here real soon. So I'm going to play this Shard Ward. It says we don't take damage from a shard of our choice until end of turn, so we're going to not take damage from his diamond thing this turn, prevent diamond. And then hopefully we could just race with all the idiots our Psychic Ascension has made. I'm going to Dingle this because it draws 2 cards, makes a guy. Oh, it made a guy that gets bigger when we draw cards. That's convenient. Well, Glory's not particularly good since it kills our board right now. Shift this onto here, so that one will get bigger when we draw some cards later. Rawr. Just get seeds. All right. Thank you everyone for watching today. Remember, the archive will go up later this afternoon, and I will catch y'all around. I will be back tomorrow afternoon with some more Hex TCG Constructed, most likely. So thanks for watching, and peace.